What if one country could quietly become the power source for an entire region, not through oil or gas, but by turning nature into steady energy and influence? Ethiopia is building something bigger than electricity, a system that could reshape how nations depend on each other.
For a long time, Ethiopia has been known for its great airline, the resplendent Ethiopian Airlines. But in the past decade, the country has made energy the center of its long-term economic and geopolitical strategy. With one of the largest renewable resource bases on the continent, the country aims to move beyond meeting domestic electricity demand and position itself as Africa's leading power exporter.
The latest framework advances a 2023 agreement, moving Ethiopia from planning to building nuclear reactors.
This ambition rests on massive hydropower dams, expanding wind and solar projects, and a growing web of regional transmission lines linking Ethiopia to its neighbors. Energy as a national strategy. Ethiopia's leadership sees electricity not only as a development tool, but also as a regional export commodity. Rapid population growth, industrialization plans, and urban expansion require large and reliable power supply at home. At the same time, many neighboring countries face chronic power shortages and high electricity costs. Ethiopia's strategy is to generate electricity at scale, mainly from renewables, and sell excess power across East and Northeast Africa through long-term power purchase agreements. Hydropower is the backbone of this plan. Ethiopia's highlands and river systems provide exceptional conditions for large dams, allowing the country to generate power at relatively low operating cost once construction is complete. Wind, solar, and geothermal projects are meant to support hydropower and reduce dependence on rainfall. The Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. The Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam on the Blue Nile is the most important project in Ethiopia's energy plan. It is the largest hydropower dam in Africa, with an installed capacity of more than 5,000 megawatts. Once fully operational, it is expected to generate roughly 15,000 to 16,000 gigawatt hours of electricity per year. GERD is designed primarily for power generation rather than irrigation, which allows Ethiopia to regulate water flow without consuming it. This makes large-scale electricity production possible while maintaining downstream river flow. The dam has been built to supply domestic demand and produce surplus electricity for export. Beyond its size, GERD changes Ethiopia's position in the regional energy market. Before the project, Ethiopia's installed capacity was limited and export volumes were small. GERD alone nearly doubles national generation capacity, giving Ethiopia the ability to sign larger and longer electricity export contracts with multiple countries at the same time. The dam has also become a political symbol of economic independence and state-led development. The Koisha hydropower dam on the Omo River is another pillar of Ethiopia's export ambitions. With an installed capacity estimated between 1,800 and 2,170 megawatts, Koisha is set to become the second largest hydropower facility in the country. Koisha complements existing dams on the Omo River system, especially the Gibe 3 dam upstream. Together, these projects allow for more stable river flow management and improved year-round electricity production. Once fully operational, Koisha will add several thousand gigawatt hours annually to Ethiopia's grid. This additional capacity is important because GERD alone cannot guarantee export stability during periods of drought or high domestic demand. Koisha increases system resilience and ensures Ethiopia can meet export commitments even when hydropower output fluctuates elsewhere. Other major hydropower projects. Ethiopia's hydropower network extends far beyond GERD and Koisha. Projects such as Janale Dawa 3, Tekeze, Belez, and Gibe 1 and 2 already contribute significant capacity. While smaller than GERD, these plants provide geographic spread, reducing reliance on a single river basin. This network approach is key to export reliability. Instead of depending on one dam, Ethiopia can balance output across multiple river systems. This makes the country a more attractive electricity supplier for neighbors seeking stable, long-term contracts. Wind and solar expansion. While hydropower dominates, Ethiopia is steadily expanding wind and solar generation. Wind farms such as Ashigoda and Adama already supply hundreds of megawatts to the grid. New wind projects, including large-scale developments in eastern Ethiopia, are planned to push wind capacity much higher. Solar power is also gaining ground. Ethiopia has launched utility-scale solar tenders aimed at attracting private investment. These projects are designed to supply power during daylight hours, reducing pressure on hydropower reservoirs and improving overall system balance. The push into wind and solar serves two goals. First, it improves energy security by reducing dependence on rainfall. Second, it strengthens Ethiopia's export profile by ensuring more consistent power availability across seasons. Geothermal and future energy plans. Ethiopia lies along the East African Rift, which gives it real geothermal potential. One of the clearest examples is the Aluto Langano Geothermal Power Station. The first small plant at Aluto Langano was commissioned in 1998 with about 7.3 megawatts of capacity, and it has mostly operated as a pilot facility because of technical problems. What matters today is the expansion program. New drilling has confirmed that the field can support much higher output. Recent well tests have shown around 25 megawatts of proven production so far, and the current development target for the site is roughly 70 to 75 megawatts once new units are installed. The wider geothermal field is assessed to be capable of even more, potentially close to 100 megawatts if fully developed. The drilling and development work has been supported by the World Bank, with technical support from Kenya Electricity Generating Company.
KENGEN is financed by the World Bank through a loan to the Ethiopian government at 7.6 billion shillings to supply geothermal drilling services to the Ethiopian electric power.
Geothermal power is important for Ethiopia's export strategy because it provides continuous baseload electricity, unlike hydropower, which depends on rainfall, or solar, which only works during the day. This makes geothermal a stabilizing source for future cross-border power sales. There have also been public statements by Ethiopian authorities about studying nuclear power as a long-term option. At present, this remains at a very early and exploratory stage, with no approved plant or construction program, but it signals planning for electricity demand well beyond today's generation system. Regional transmission and power exports. Ethiopia's ability to export electricity depends as much on transmission lines as on generation. The country has built a network of high-voltage connections linking its grid to neighboring states, including Sudan, Djibouti, and Kenya. The most significant of these is the Ethiopia-Kenya Interconnector, a 1,045-kilometer, 500-kilovolt line capable of moving up to 2,000 megawatts of electricity. Operational since late 2022, it allows Ethiopia to supply large volumes of power south into East Africa, forming the backbone of regional energy trade. Beyond Kenya, Ethiopia exports electricity to Sudan and Djibouti, with long-standing agreements in place. In 2025, it began sending electricity to Tanzania through Kenya's transmission system, initially at tens of megawatts as part of the Eastern Africa Power Pool, EAPP, which links multiple countries for coordinated power sharing. Plans also exist to extend exports to Rwanda and South Sudan, gradually integrating more of the region into a shared electricity market. These exports are more than a technical achievement. They generate foreign revenue, strengthen diplomatic relationships, and increase Ethiopia's regional influence. Sales to Kenya, Sudan, and Djibouti alone bring in millions of dollars annually, helping stabilize Ethiopia's economy while offering neighbors a reliable, renewable energy source. Unlike raw resource exports, electricity requires functioning infrastructure, operational coordination, and long-term cooperation, making it a tool for deeper economic and political connections.
The real story isn't just about power generation, but about control, leverage, and who keeps the lights on across East Africa in the years ahead.
Economic and political impact. If Ethiopia succeeds, electricity exports could become a major source of national revenue. Cheap power also supports domestic industrial parks, manufacturing, and urban development. This dual use, serving both export and local needs, is central to the government's growth model. At the regional level, Ethiopia's rise as a power supplier shifts energy dynamics. Countries that rely on expensive diesel generation or unstable domestic grids may increasingly depend on Ethiopian electricity, giving Addis Ababa greater economic and political weight in East Africa.